Well, thanks for joining us today, everyone. It's James here at My Simple Mortgage, and I'm joined by Russell Kennedy from Legal & General. How you doing, Russell?
I'm very good, thank you, James. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Really appreciate you giving up your time today to come and speak with us. We're only going to be a few minutes. We're talking about protection today. We work with Legal & General closely through their mortgage club, and we have recently become a sole tie with L&G. What that means is that all our protection products, our life insurance, our critical illness, our income protection, all is provided by the wonderful people with the famous umbrella over at L&G. And so, Russell, we're going to be talking this morning about income protection. That's what we want to talk about. But just before we do that, how do we know each other? Why don't you tell our followers what you do at Legal & General?
Yeah, well, my official title is Business Development Manager. I suppose I'd class myself as a protection specialist. And when I say protection specialist, James, I don't mean close personal security. I mean,
you don't carry a gun.
No, I'm looking at everything from life insurance through critical illness cover, income protection, family protection for individuals, but that also extends to businesses as well, and what business protection needs they have. And I think what I do in terms of working with yourself, and I very much see you as my customer, is twofold really: helping you understand products and how they work. Obviously, that's key when you're talking to customers, but also helping you perhaps identify where customers have got gaps in their overall protection portfolio, I suppose. Yeah. And I've been doing it for quite a few years now.
Great, because protection's it's a massive part of what a mortgage advisor does. It's a huge part of what we do, and we talk to our clients about it. That actually, if we're going to put you in debt, what happens when things don't go to plan, and how do we make sure that you keep your house and your income and all that kind of thing? Is a huge part of the conversation.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we see what happens when people don't have the right policies in place, which is very sad. So we're passionate about it. I think that's the best way I can describe it.
And I wanted to ask you a few things about income protection, particularly. We'll talk again about life insurance and critical illness another time. But we talk to our customers about income protection. What is income protection? Is it PPI? Because we saw these huge PPI claims going around, didn't we? What is income protection? How is it different to PPI?
I think that's a great question, and I'm glad you've asked it for me, because I think customers do get confused. They saw it all over the press, and if I'm honest, it's quite a big frustration of mine. So just to clarify it, the payment protection insurance PPI was sold typically alongside personal loans, credit card agreements, that sort of thing, and it was designed to help a customer maintain those payments if they were unable to because of, say, illness or accident. Yeah. Now, crucially, and a big difference between PPI and income protection is that if the policy actually paid out, it paid to the loan provider, which is not what income protection does. Right. And I'll cover that in a bit more in a second. But PPI started to receive so much bad press because you've got two sets of people, really. You've got those people that thought, that didn't even know they had it for a start off.
Been missold.
Just added on to content. And I think you've got another group of people who thought, if I don't take it, I'm not going to get this loan, or I'm not going to get this credit card. Yeah. So they felt like they were forced into taking it out. And that then started the whole PPI mis-selling scandal and the compensation scheme. Income protection, on the other hand, it's designed to replace a percentage of your income if you're unable to carry out your normal occupation, your own occupation, because of illness or injury. And I might add here that neither of those need to be life-threatening.
So it could be something like you have a car crash and you hurt your back and you're off for 6 months.
Exactly. And it will pay that percentage of your income to help you maintain, your lifestyle, and it carries on paying basically until you return to work, you retire, the policy comes to an end, or you die. So again, crucially, the policy, when you arrange one for your customer, we medically underwrite it at the outset, so the customer knows exactly what they're going to pay every month. And as I've already alluded to, if the customer has to claim, the benefit is paid direct to the customer.
So they don't have to
Now,
have a mortgage. It's not like it goes off to their mortgage provider and they don't see that. It goes into their bank account. They can effectively
exactly, and what they spend the money on is entirely up to them. There's no restriction. So it's ideal for anybody who's relies on a salary to pay bills, maintain their lifestyle, and you can even tailor it with employer sick pay. So for example, let's say Legal and General paid me 6 months full pay if I was off poorly or had an accident. I could get my income protection plan to kick in, to start paying after 26 weeks. So as my L&G stops, my income protection carries on. And I think, as I've already said, many people felt that they were forced into taking out PPI, whereas income protection is entirely optional, but crucially, as far as we're concerned, it's a vital part of a customer's overall protection plan to help them maintain their financial stability.
The reality is, and when we go through somebody's mortgage application, we look at their expenditure. A modern lifestyle is rented. Nobody buys a gym, but they do pay a monthly gym membership. And actually, for recovery and health and mental health, that can be really important. We have Netflix, and we've got kids. So I've just got Disney Plus for the lockdown, and so, but we rent that. So if I couldn't work because I was injured, actually, it's not for me. It's not just paying my mortgage and paying my bills is important, but actually, I'd have to give up things like Disney Plus, membership to clubs, those kind of things, which has a massive impact on my family, because we rent our lifestyles these days.
And that's exactly the way we describe it. And I think, we're really trying to help people have plans in place for when, it's a bit cliche, but when normality stops, it can come out of the blue, and it doesn't need to be like that. This financial strain doesn't need to be there, but we really want to try and educate people to see the need for income protection.
So you kind of answered my second question there. So I'm going to jump to my third question, which is really, like I said, I've said before, we're big advocates of L&G. We love the ethos of the company, but this is your chance really to explain to our customers, if they take out an income protection policy with Legal and General, what's great about it? Why should they be interested in having that kind of cover? What's unique that L&G will offer to them as part of that policy?
Well, I think when you arrange an income protection plan for somebody, one of the things you'll give them is one of these things. And this is called a key facts document about income protection. And within this document is lots of different things, lots of different questions that are answered. What happens if I take out income protection and I go on maternity leave? What happens if I'm hospitalized? What happens if I decide to take a career break? What happens if I decide to, go back to work but then I'm off again with the same illness? We've got all that covered in here. But the two things that I really wanted to highlight to you, when a customer takes out an income protection plan with us, there's a couple of key features that they'll get. One of them is called nurse support services.
Right, yes.
And we give this to the customer for free. And it's basically a suite of 6 services that we offer. And we get that from our one of the partners we partner with, called Red Arc. And Red Arc have fully trained nurses that are all registered, have to keep their qualifications up to date, etc., etc. But the 6 services that they offer is, for example, serious illness, disability, and bereavement support. So they're looking at offering coping strategies at difficult times, letting customers just talk to customers about the bereavement or the illness in general. We've got a second medical opinion service, so they could look at arranging for a face-to-face consultation with somebody to get a second medical opinion on their diagnosis. Mental health support, James, that's a biggie. I actually know a couple of advisors that have had our policies that have gone on to use the Red Arc nurse support services, and mental health support keeps coming out as a regular topic. But you might have customers who are also carers. Okay, these guys can help provide guidance and emotional support for people that are caring for somebody. We often find that when people come out of hospital, there's a facility here for guidance on help at home. And that's for people who've left hospital. What equipment are they entitled to, that sort of thing. And then elder care, helping care for an elderly relative. The key thing that I just wanted to highlight here, apart from it being free, is that it's not just the policyholder that gets access to this. it's their immediate family living at home.
Okay.
So you could have a situation where a child is maybe experiencing some mental health issues. They could use this service.
So you don't have to be off work. If it was my child, I don't have to be off work. But if I hold an income protection policy, I can call Red Arc and they can help my child.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's something I would be emphasising to you as an advisor and your advisor team. Please make sure you talk to your customers and make them aware they've got access to this service. And it's not like the customer has to ring us to get a referral. We give them access to it day one that the policy starts, and then we give them a number.
It's on your life insurance critical illness policies as well, isn't it?
It is. I was going to say it's across virtually all of our plans. So whether you took out life insurance or critical, you get that as well. The other benefit I just wanted to highlight is, which is exclusive to income protection, we have something called rehabilitation benefit. So when a customer makes a valid claim, as I alluded to earlier in my example, I'd opted not to receive any benefit from my policy for 26 weeks because my employer was paying me sick pay for 6 months. But as soon as I made that valid claim, I get access immediately to rehabilitation service provided by our own in-house occupational therapists. And what they're looking at doing is, it could be that, I'll use mental health as an example. It could be that they decide that I would benefit from some CBT treatment, cognitive behavioural therapy, and they may arrange 4, 5, 6, and 8 sessions with a specialist, and that's at our cost. It could be that it's maybe more of a physical nature and there's some physiotherapy involved, but the bit I wanted to stress was we're really keen to help the customer get back to work. And 99% of people, James, want to get back to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
If this rehabilitation program didn't work, and they reach the end of what we call our deferred period, we quite simply start paying the benefit. So, and we provide that for free. So there's just 2 things there, but they're 2 of what I regard as perhaps the most important. And as I said, to you as an advisor and your team, please make sure you do highlight these to customers, because the feedback we get is really, really good. Yeah,
I just think for us, it's so important that we make sure that our customers are protected. And one of the things that we have liked about L&G is your payout rate. Actually, when we looked at the different providers, you pay out. Insurance is only good if it pays out. I mean, if you have to have an argument with your provider because I've got some friends, their house flooded, and their insurance provider is refusing to pay out. And it's just an absolute nightmare. So what's the point in paying that home insurance? It hasn't helped them at all. Just very lastly, then, just on that, tell me a little bit about L&G's payout rate. I mean, you've got some really good statistics in that area.
Yeah, I mean, the statistics, they've just come out. I can supply those to you, James, but it clearly demonstrates that whether you're looking at life insurance, critical illness cover, or income protection, if feedback you get perhaps from a customer as well, these insurers, they never pay out. Well, show them our claim statistics, because it gets rid of that argument, I could suppose. The one thing which I think is really important, and what we do see a lot, is that when you ask a customer if they've got protection through work, if their employer pays sick pay, commonly the answer will be yes. I think what customers don't realise is they're only going to get paid their salary if their employer has put in place a group income protection scheme.
Yeah.
And what they find is that, and that they're in the minority, to be honest. So what customers actually are getting is something called statutory sick pay. And if I told you that amounts to £95.85 a week for the next 28 weeks, I can speak for myself. I've got a family of 4, a couple of cars to run. That will not cover my fuel or my shopping. So what we often ask people to do is, and a good process to go through, is have a look at what you're committed to, have a look at what you can reduce, and have a look at what you can cancel. And the reason we put it that way is if I cancelled my broadband in my house, I'd have a mutiny on my hands from the kids. But you can't just turn around to your mortgage provider and say, I'm not going to pay you anymore, or credit card, I'm not going to pay you. We did some surveys recently, James, called the Deadline to Breadline survey, and it showed across the country it would be 32 days on average from when an income stops to actually reaching the breadline. That's just shocking. I'm sure you agree, and that's why we're so passionate about getting customers to understand this. You know, sometimes I think customers misinterpret how long they're perhaps going to be able to survive for on their savings, or banker mum and dad. So for me, it's where any good financial advisor can really help do the maths with the customer, make decisions, you know, with sound foundations.
So that figure of 32 days from deadline to breadline is alarming, and highlights my point before. We rent our lifestyles. We absolutely in the past. I've been running My Simple Mortgage now 4.5 years. We've seen a huge increase in the number of people who lease their car over buying it. But with if you've got a car lease, you can't just give the car back. You'll have exit penalties and all these things that actually you think you can get away with, but you can't. And you're right, if you've got a family, you can't feed them on £94 a week, or it's very difficult to. And you can't just get rid of the broadband because people will need that for work. You might have a partner in the house who's still using it for work. And so actually, when we talk about this with our customers, and we'll be saying this to any of our customers watching, when they are speaking with their advisors, income protection is one of the key things that we talk about. Everybody assumes they need life insurance. Everybody takes life insurance with their mortgage because we talk about that being the morally responsible thing to do to make sure your house is paid off for your kids. But what if you don't die but still have a problem?
I think the thing that's really important to highlight there, James, is typically what we see is, you know, a mortgage will be arranged, and, you know, I think customers assume, yes, well, I'll take life cover, of course I would. Yeah. Our number one claim on income protection is musculoskeletal, so back problem. So no life insurance policy is going to pay out for that.
Yeah.
The other one that's in there that's within the top 3 reasons for paying out is mental health. Again, you can have all the life insurance in the world, but it's not going to pay out because you're off work with a mental illness. So I think for a lot of people, for me personally, it should start with income protection. What are you going to do? What are you committed to? As I said, what can you reduce? What are you going to do if you can't work through illness or accident? Okay, we'll sort out the life and the critical illness cover for you. That's a given. But the income protection, if we can get people to see beyond the PPI mis-selling, because it's clear, hopefully I've illustrated it's got nothing to do with it, then it's a really, really important part of a customer's overall protection portfolio, if I can put it that way.
Brilliant. Russell, I can't thank you enough. That's really helpful. And hopefully to some of you guys watching, that's explained a little bit more about why this product is important, a little bit about how it works. Your advisors, when you speak to the guys at My Simple Mortgage Advisors, will be speaking to you about this. But again, Russell, thank you very much for your time. Stay safe.
Pleasure.
And we'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Thank you very much. See you. Thanks, James.